Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to learn about characterization. And characterization is the process by which readers collect information and begin to understand characters. Characterization can be applied in two different ways: indirect and direct. In direct characterization, the narrator explicitly tells you a trait of a character. They're going to say, Katniss is brave, or Bilbo is short. In indirect characterization, you're going to have to infer a character trait based on an action. So you might say that Bilbo only accepts a small portion of his treasure, which means he's honest. These traits that we're identifying can be described as adjectives used to describe a character, and they can either be physical or personal. So they can be words like short or tall or strong, or kind, intelligent, or brave. And then there's four main adjectives that we use to identify characters in literature, and these are static, and these are characters that don't undergo any change in the course of a story. They are background characters that have a minimal role. And then there's also the opposite of static is dynamic. These characters are normally major characters in a work of fiction, and they undergo change from the beginning to the end of the novel. So you'll be able to see noticeable differences from the beginning to the end. So on the board we have three main characters from novels that you've all probably read. We have Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games, Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit, and the White Witch from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So we're going to go through and decide whether they're static or dynamic. So raise your hand and tell me if you think Katniss is static or dynamic. Ken.
Katniss is dynamic.
Yes, because she changes throughout the course of her story. What about Bilbo? Bilbo?
Dynamic.
Yes, because he also changes from a scared little hobbit to a brave, still little hobbit. The White Witch, is she dynamic or static? Alive.
I think she's static.
Yes, because all we can really see is that she is evil, and she's also a secondary character, which makes sense that she wouldn't have very many character traits. So then along with that, we have flat and round characters. Flat characters are also normally secondary characters that don't really possess any noticeable character traits. They might have one or two. Round characters are more complex, and you can identify multiple character traits within them. So we'll do the same thing with these characters. You think Katniss is round or flat?
Round.
Yeah, she's round because there's lots of things that you could use to describe her. How about Bilbo?
Round.
Yeah, he's round as well. How about the White Witch?
Flat.
Yeah, because like we said earlier, she's just the evil antagonist. There's not really much else to her. So going back to indirect characterization, we can also identify actions that all these characters take in a story and try to infer what traits they might have, in addition to things that the narrator will explicitly tell us in direct characterization. So who can tell me something that Katniss does in The Hunger Games and then infer her character trait based on that? Elia?
Well, Katniss volunteers to take their sister's position, so that means she's very brave.
Yeah, great. How about Bilbo? Drew?
Bilbo solves Gollum's riddle, which shows that he's intelligent.
Yeah, great. And last but not least, how about the White Witch? Philippa?
The witch turns the giant to stone, so that shows that she's evil.
Yeah, great. So now we're going to review the chant that we've been working on all week to help us remember these terms that we've learned today. So on three, we'll start our chant. 1, 2, 3.
T. Narrator may tell you who they may be. R. A character's actions will get you far. A. Static characters unchanged they stay. I. Dynamic characters evolve on by. T. Flat characters few traits receive. S. Round characters are always best.